Hello, my name is Victor Sandoval. Imagine spending the last 10, 20, or even 30 years of your life having your schedule, your uniform, and your daily purpose exactly dictated by one massive organization. Now imagine waking up one Monday morning, taking off that uniform for the final time, and walking into the civilian world where you suddenly must figure out who you are without it. Every single year, roughly 200,000 service members face this exact reality. Yet, according to the Pew Research Center, nearly half of all post 9/11 veterans report that this transition was incredibly difficult. Why are so many highly trained, disciplined leaders struggling? Because for many of us, the military isn't just a job, it becomes our entire identity. Today, I'm going to brief you on the realities of the military to civilian transition process and how veterans navigate the gap between military and civilian cultures. Having served in the Marine Corps for nearly 30 years, going straight from high school, from an avionics technician to avionics chief and military occupational field specialist, I'm currently living through this exact process. Whether you're transitioning yourself or you work in the civilian sector alongside veterans, understanding this process is vital for building stronger workplaces and work relationships. We will examine this topic by first looking at the disparity between the military entry and exit training. Second, understanding the cultural challenges veterans face. And finally, exploring the supplemental steps veterans take to bridge the gap. Let's begin by looking at the stark contrast in the timelines for entering and leaving the military. Entering the military is a highly immersive, long-term process. The Marine Corps boot camp takes 13 weeks to strip away our civilian habits and replaces them with strict military conditioning. Service members are taught military bearing and direct, bottom line up front, bluff communication style. On the other side, the formal exit process is comparatively brief. Regardless of whether a service member is in the military for 4 years or 30 years, the primary exit training is just 1 week, the Transition Readiness Seminar, TRS. This seminar focuses heavily on the logistics of separation, such as basic resume formats and the VA benefits rather than the deep cultural adaptations and the realities of the work style in the civilian sector. Furthermore, while the military typically has a resident subject matter expert to assist with almost every program we have, the transition process is unique. Everyone who successfully has gone through the separation process has already left the military. Their experience departs with them, leaving the current service members without experienced peers to guide them through the reality of the process. Because of this brevity in exit training, veterans often face unique hurdles when they enter the civilian sector. There are challenges through the transition process. The lack of cultural deprogramming often leads to civilian workplace culture shock. As highlighted in the 2021 Pew Research Center report, nearly half of all post 9/11 veterans find the transition somewhat or very difficult, largely due to the loss of military identity. A major part of this difficulty involves navigating a workplace that lacks the rigid hierarchy and clear structure of the military. Communication styles present another significant challenge. Veterans often struggle to translate their military jargon and acronyms into terms civilian hiring managers understand. The stoic nonverbal behavior and direct vocalics that were rewarded in the military can sometimes be misinterpreted and unapproachable or rigid by civilian colleagues. To overcome these documented challenges, many veterans find it necessary to build their own transition plan. My idea or plan is sort of a reverse boot camp with supplemental steps. Veterans often rely on extended timelines and external programs to prepare. As emphasized by the 2022 Transition Assistance Guidelines published by the Department of Veteran Affairs, a successful integration process requires service members to begin their transition planning 12 to 24 months prior to separation. But that planning is still just that 1 week transition course, the TRS. There are other organizations that assist or help, but your command has to approve you to exit to do some of these programs. Some are like the organizations of Hiring Our Heroes, offers corporate fellowships that provide hands-on civilian work experience before a veteran leaves active duty. As stated, your command must approve that. Veterans actively practice communication accommodation. This involves deliberately adjusting their tone, making it higher or softer depending on where they're at, using more empathetic language, and adopting civilian workplace norms to foster collaboration. In summary, the journey out of the military is a complex process that extends far beyond a 1 week course. Today, we explored the timeline disparity between the military entry and exit training, the cultural communicative challenges veterans face, and the supplemental reverse bootcamp steps that they take to adopt or adapt to the civilian world. Understanding the mechanics of this transition highlights why it requires patience, a proactive effort, and from both the veteran and the civilian organizations welcoming them. We trained tirelessly for 13 weeks to earn the title of United States Marine. Becoming a successful civilian doesn't happen in a 1 week seminar. It takes a continuous, personalized reverse boot camp to earn the success all over again.